Good evening, everyone. I'm Carla Christopher, and I'm out here enjoying one of the last gorgeous days we're going to have before winter sets in. And you have stumbled upon our latest episode of Culture in Maine. We have a whole lot going on this week. We have a video I did for the Eat, Play, Breathe campaign. We have art correspondent Anna Jones, who's at Studio 254, one of the Maker's Dozen art trail stops of local art here in York. We have the musician Devix, who does cool stuff with the loop station. And then we also have Ben and Nick from Central York High School, who are showcasing teen actors doing incredible things with writing their own material and creating an original theatrical production called R.E.A.C.H that the YWCA administers currently, which is all about teens dealing with, facing, and openly discussing the issues that they're really going through. Now after that, we have an original song which was created by Cal Weary of Weary Arts Group and Perfect Fifth music instructor Rod Gels, and features their students, filmed by our videographer correspondent Randy Flaum, which is in celebration of Light Up Night. That happens on Friday, December 5th. So if you're watching this on Thursday, make sure to get downtown at 5 p.m. for that annual holiday celebration. And then on our way out, we have the vocal studio of Summer Michelle Garner. That was part of Second Saturday on the Square's Downtown Ink series, which is a really cool, again, example of young people doing something positive with their art. So have a wonderful opening of your festive holiday season. Enjoy the wonderful things going on in the county that have to do with arts and culture. And of course, enjoy the show.
Culture in Maine.
It is a place we truth should be kept.
The arts and music scene really shows what people are about.
Share what's going on here in York.
Makes you feel like a family.
Local art has a face that most people can relate to.
Our community up here that sticks together.
Art is art.
Great potential with great artists, poets, singers, writers, directors, filmmakers. It's fantastic.
Everyone has a story to tell.
That moment, you have to capture that moment and share it with the rest of the world.
Showing something that maybe has not been seen before.
Without art, what good is life?
I am art. I've been art ever since I was born.
It really adds a great deal to our community.
We don't really need art to exist, but you need art to live.
Culture in Maine is important, and I think playing out is important, and playing open mics and playing wherever you can play. It's all about us all checking in with each other.
Eat, play, breathe, believe. Eat, play, breathe, believe. Eat, play, breathe. Believe that you are here to receive the movement of fresh air scented by apple trees covered in fresh pink blossom. Spring no longer held hostage, but escaping through the hypnotic wheels that turn winter's pages into greening branches. Picking the fruit, retasting the memory that has been feeding the people for ages. I am here to receive, here to rebirth, here to reclaim the feeling of earth between my fingers, to linger on swings, to give out joy in the street, to disseminate it for free, to share without charge the heaven that lies beneath our feet, that can be tasted in markets, can be consumed in our parks, can be the gift of fresh air filling lungs as I use my voice to be a spark in the darkness, the beginning of a movement's light. It takes one star through 1 billion miles of unbroken night to be a wish. I don't need to smoke. I need to burn like the red of autumn leaves on trails uncurled and flat laying across city landscape. I don't need to drive. I need to escape. I am here to receive, here to rebirth, here to reclaim me. I need to eat, play, breathe. I need to eat, play, breathe. I need to believe.
Hi, I'm Anna Jones. I'm a poet from Harrisburg, and I'm guest presenting Culture in Maine this week. We're here at York's oldest art gallery, longest running art gallery. It's Studio Gallery 234 at 300 South Pershing Avenue. Let's go inside and look at some of the artwork. Hi, we're here with Mary Totenhoft, the owner and artist at Studio Gallery 234. Can you tell us a little bit about Studio 234 and how it came about?
Sure. I moved to York in about 1987 and worked for another gallery as an associate director, and then decided to open my own gallery about a year later. And the original address was at 234 West Market, so that's where Studio Gallery 234 came from. I was at that location for about 5 years with about 20 different artists' work, from people I'd gone to grad school with at Penn State, people I'd studied with, people I had shown artwork with. And I found out about this place in '93 and rehabbed it. And I'm here at 300 South Pershing Avenue. And I carry about 25 to 30 artists now. And I've been teaching at York College and Penn State York and doing my own art ever since.
That's wonderful. Your own art is behind us.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your art and your influences?
Well, there's going to be more out than what's out now, but basically I'm just gearing up for the show next week. This is a representation of the abstracted landscapes that I do. Tend to be regional, or the larger one is from a photo source that a client had given me that they wanted something work from. And then also represented is my travels. The one on the far left is from Italy, when I traveled to Italy twice. And then there's the abstractions of musical instruments. I come from a family musician, woodwind players and pianists, and the woodwinds are represented here, the flutes and clarinets.
So would you say music and being in a musical family has really influenced your style?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It is the transition into doing abstract art considerably, and has made me more multifaceted, I think, had I not just focused on the visual, because I was surrounded by both jazz and classical music my whole life. And it was a great way to grow up, and it's continued to be a big influence in my life. So.
And you said a lot of them are regional landscapes. I mean, what are a couple of your favorite places?
I love going down southern York County. I have a friend who has a small farm down in Jefferson. I like to wander around his property, Seven Valleys, down there along the Maryland line, but also the mountains. I went to graduate school at Penn State there in Happy Valley, and I used to love to take my dog up on the Mid-State Trail and do some drawings. I wasn't big on plein air painting at that time because the weather wasn't always permitting, but I could sketch and do some photography and bring it back into the studio and work from there. I do a little bit of plein air work around the York area because the weather's more accommodating, but I still prefer to work from photo sources because I do a lot of mixed media work. In grad school, I tended to do graphite charcoal drawings, a few mixed media pieces using watercolors and pastels, but I focus primarily on oils, and I haven't really done oils for a couple of years. Exclusively, I do them once in a while, but I've really gotten into in the past 4 or 5 years combining acrylics and pastels and graphite and charcoal all in a single canvas. So I've been focusing on mixing up my media.
As the only gallery on the Maker's Dozen tour, how do you think that offers a different experience to the artist studios?
Well, I have not only my own work up for this event, in fact, normally my own work's only up when I have a group show or when I'm featuring myself, which I only do about every 3 or 4 years. I have alternating exhibits every year. I have about 5 exhibits every year, and every other exhibit is a group show featuring my 25 or 30 artists that I carry. And then the other shows in between are 3-person exhibits. And hanging on this Maker's Dozen weekend will be the existing 3-person show that features Nick Pastel, Donald Sam Sneeder, and Chris Schaefer. So a lot of the images, the still images that you see, are of their show that still will be hanging.
Would you say you carry a lot of local artists?
Yes, I like to, because we have so much talent in this area. And that was one reason why I stayed in York after working for another gallery for a year and decided to open my own place in York. I love the region, I love the people of the area, and there's an awful lot of artists that are very good. So I carry primarily local regional artists. I have a few people, they're relocating. I have a few artists who are up in New York. I have a couple that are out west. One of my sculptors is out in Santa Fe. One of my sculptors is up in Massachusetts. One of my sculptor friends I went to college with designs things for the Smithsonian down in DC. But for the most part, most of the artists I carry are from this area.
Do you think the strength and the sheer number of working artists in York has helped the gallery? I mean, 26 years is a long time for a gallery in any city this size.
Right. Oh, yes, absolutely. And the artists that I carry are just beyond being very good artists. They're also wonderful people to work with, and they afford me. I have the freedom to pick and choose from their work. Usually what I like to do is have the artist bring in what they want to show. You know, their strongest work, whatever type of work they're working on at the time, you know, whatever series they're into. And I trust their judgment. And being an artist myself, I tend to be a little more artist-friendly than perhaps some other commercial venues would be. I mean, you have the Hive is also on the tour, and they're a gallery as well, but they're a nonprofit, and I think those types of business venues have to struggle a little bit harder because they're constantly having to apply for grant monies and find funding and things, and this being more of a commercial endeavor, augmented by my adjunct teaching salary, helps a lot. And I also have framing, and that's kind of the bread and butter that pays the utility bills and that sort of thing. But the artists in this area multitask probably almost as much as I do, if not more, because there are very few people that can actually make a living in a town this size strictly from their art. So they tend to be working another job or several other jobs, whether they're art related or not. And so they understand my situation as a gallery owner, and we work well together. Yeah. I think it's a wonderful thing that we now have the Arts District down there on Market and Beaver and Philadelphia Street. But there are a lot of us that's not where our studios are, and that's not where our venues are. So having these other pockets open up around the York downtown area helps, because, you know, obviously with this group, it's not a big stretch to go from here to here to here to here to here to here. You know, we're talking a couple mile radius at most. So.
I was excited that there were so many studios in such a small space. Usually, I mean, other cities have art walks, but they're usually all gallery based.
Right.
So this is quite exciting that you'll be able to see how the artist is creating.
We're getting more and more people in from out of the area. And even Yorktownians that haven't been downtown for a while are coming into town to see the art and check out the new venues.
And it's bringing more people in for all the businesses.
Absolutely, because I mean, more often than not, you know, if you're in town for the day, you're going to stop and have a bite to eat, or stop at Central Market, or, you know, go onto a boutique, or grab a cup of coffee, or you're going to spend money somewhere else as well. And these are wonderful shops. I mean, look how much of downtown is run by sole proprietors or family run, and that's what I like the best about York, is that it's not all chain stores and chain restaurants, and, you know, everything has its own little flavor, and you can pick and choose, you know.
It's all small businesses and you know, real people running their dreams, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes a big difference, you know. And it also makes it more personal. You know, it's a more pleasant experience. You know, you don't feel badly if you're tying up a table for more than 20 or 30 minutes. You know, you can sit and have a conversation with someone and feel like you're not putting the place out because they're expecting a turnaround on the tables. Or, you know, if someone comes in here, and I just had 2 students this morning in writing a paper, and they could stay as long as they wanted, and I sat and chatted with them and answered questions, and they told me about their lives, and you don't get to do that in a large chain store or in a, you know, a venue that's having to, you know, care more about the profits than about the place itself or the art. I mean, one thing about the artists that I carry, I try to know them pretty well and you know, understand their backgrounds and their histories and why they do what they do, and it makes it all very enjoyable.
One thing I have noticed on the York art scene is how much artists recommend other artists.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the most sort of lovely things around it.
And not just the artists I carry, although they certainly have been just wonderful about spreading the word of Studio Gallery 234. The other artists I know in the area that have their own venues that don't need me to represent them always mention me when someone stops by their place and is looking for other places to go, or even if they're not. And I do the same thing. I say, hey, do you have more time to go? Would you like to see more art in York? And I just rattle off artists I know that are there and do it. But that's how the word gets spread. And a lot of these artists are very faithful. They show up to each other's openings, no matter where the exhibitions are.
And the community really kind of pulls together. So is this the first Maker's Dozen artist studio tour?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we're hoping it rolls well. It'd be nice to make this an annual event. Now, there have been other group tours over the years that have happened, and probably one of the first organizations to do this sort of concept, although it wasn't just art related, would be the York Twinning Association, where they did the open house tours, where you could go and see various places that, historical and substantial buildings in town, homes in town, and then they would have usually more boutique stores have displays set up. And then there were other nonprofits that would do the same thing for various fundraisings and that sort of thing. That in order to survive, we have to be more of a network and play well with others.
People are getting more collaborative.
Because we need to be a destination for people to come to for art in order to succeed. And via the web and the social media, it's a little bit easier to get the word out about one's venue. But when it comes to once people are actually in town, it's really nice to be able to go check out Kim Heinel Toner's Terra Opera Studio. Oh, go see if Marianne Stevenson is holding forth in her studio today. And it works out really nicely because people can still hit, rather than just one place and go have a nice lunch and leave town, they can spend the entire day here and go from place to place and really appreciate the wealth of talent that's around.
My name is Torres, and I created this stage name Devix, and created it because I actually kind of mess around with video game design and whatnot. Me and my family, we all have our little artistic trades and whatnot, and that's something that most of us actually used to work on a lot. And I used to create this little character named Devi in it, like each and every one of them, and I eventually tried to use that as my usernames and whatnot. But someone always has that name, so I had to add the X on it, and then I was like, Devix, that sounds kind of cool. So I'm Devix. I perform around York locally, and I run around with a loop station, an electric drum set, a guitar, and an effects pedal that lets me put a bunch of effects on it, like bass. And what I do is I put everything through the loop station to give you the full effect of a band as a solo artist. So I'm going to start off with the first song I ever created on the looper, called You'll Remember This. this is called. You just choose and choose and choose what is thrown, is thrown, is thrown, thrown at you, at you, at you. You don't know, you know, you know. You just choose and choose and choose what is thrown, is thrown, is thrown, thrown at you, at you, at you. You don't know, you know, you know. You can choose and choose and choose, choose what you want, you want, you want. Don't you remember? Don't you remember that you can choose and choose and choose, choose what you want, you want, you want. Don't you remember? Don't you remember? Because I don't remember at all, at all, at all. Where any of this is gone, where any of this is gone. I don't remember at all, at all, at all. Where any of this is gone, where any of this is gone. The name Devix, the artist, the essence of the artist Devix is, you know, kind of based around just playing multiple instruments at one time, putting on a full band show as a single artist. So I think at this point, really all I have to do is work on my stage presence for the most part. You know, I'd like to give people a little more than sit down and stand up, but so far it's been working for me, and a lot of the, besides the talent, comes from, you know, all the gear that I have. For lack of any other terms, the music is kind of making itself in my head. I kind of just hear music, and I don't think I'm picking it up from anywhere else. I'm not recalling something that, you know, I heard like 2 years ago or something like that. Riffs just put themselves together in my head, and then I'm like, okay, that sounds good. And I hear multiple parts at the same time, which is kind of cool, because it's just like, it kind of just lessens my work, honestly. But I just, you know, I hear a bass part, a guitar part, and maybe a drum part to go with it, and then I'm like, oh, I think this vocal part would match that. So I play what I hear on the looper, and the looper gives me that opportunity to just sit there and work with that specific part that I heard, because it just keeps going and going until I'm done messing around with it. And I'm just undoing, redoing, and saving whatever I'm putting on there on the spot. And yeah, the music just comes from my head, honestly. I really like playing around York. There's really good crowds most of the spots. One of my favorites, Bistro 19. Aaron Lewis hosts that, and he's got a sound guy and everything, and they put on a really good open mic, honestly. I mean, it's a good crowd every time. I've been playing at Holy Hound as well. Ron Benway hosts that one. That's actually where I met you there, or for the second time at least. But yeah, it's the music scene around York is definitely bigger than I thought it was. And I think last year I not almost gave up, but I got really lazy because I just felt discouraged. I didn't see it clearly. And then when I started picking up and actually getting proficient with the looper, which I got a year ago, things really started to pick up. But, I started off with this whole, let me put all these instruments in, which can sound like anyone's playing it. But now I'm getting to the point where now you have like 4 different singers in the song. Like it's all one person. And that's just really the thing that I want to go for. I think that's my end goal, is put that show on that no one else can, if possible.
My name is Ben Hodge, and I have been teaching acting at Central York High School for the past 13 years. And in 2008, created Ben Hodge Studios, which is a private acting company around York that trains particularly teenagers anywhere aged 13 to, I've worked with college students too as well, and just training, working with them and their acting abilities. I studied English and acting at Messiah College. College and graduated there in 2002, and then was hired as the acting teacher at full-time Central York High School in 2002 as well, and have been there ever since.
My name is Nick Curry. I've been a teacher at Central York High School teaching music for the past 11 years. I have a lot of theater experience working inside of school and through my college and high school experience, but we always compare it that I'm a music teacher who enjoys theater, while Ben is a theater teacher who enjoys music. And that's provided us a lot of opportunities to collaborate with each other in a number of different ways. I was brought on because Ben and I started working together on a project about what it's really like to be a teacher. As he said, we saw a lot of productions that were portraying teaching either in an overly dramatic sense or in a way too comedic sense. And we thought, what is it really like? What's the essence of being a teacher? So we started working on a show that we called Teach, just featuring some of the comic things as well as some of the serious things that teachers dealt with. And then brought that to the students. And as it started to take off and they brought the stories, Ben and I started to collaborate to bring the show, which would eventually become R.E.A.C.H, together.
My name's Cole. And it's Cole with a K, not with a C. Just to let you know. Anyway, I'm a student here at this high school, and if you can't tell, I'm black. Yeah, that's right. I'm black. But people will tell you that I'm actually a white girl in a black girl's body. And they're right. I am white on the inside. I like rock music a lot. A lot better than rap. I mean, I'm sorry, but... Wait. No. I'm not. I just don't like it. It sounds like the exact same thing over and over again. I mean, really... I talk like a white girl, if you can't tell. I like anime books better than black romance novels. Yeah, that's me. And, my kind? Well, my kind's not really fully accepted by people around here. The black people don't completely accept us because they think we're selling out by acting white. And the white people don't completely accept us because, well, we're black. And they think that we're like the black kids that don't accept us. It's like we're a whole different race or species. And this school has the nerve to say, we're diverse. For crying out loud, the white kids who act black are more accepted than us. And you know, some of us can't help it. Some of us, like me, were raised like this. I grew up in white neighborhoods all my life. So how can you call me wannabe URD? Well, hey, I may be a white girl in a black girl's body, but at least I'm being true to me.
In 2007, I presented an idea to my Acting 1 class at the time. We were looking for a play to produce for our class, and we didn't really like a lot of the plays. We felt that they were kind of cheesy, and there wasn't really anything that really sung with them or that really hit with them. So we were in the process of looking for a show when we had discovered that there were some things happening at the school that kind of generated some interest in our work. And I came in and I said, what if we turn the mirror on what life was really like for young people today? Something real, something different. And we started to get stories from students, and students would write their own stories, and some students had trouble writing monologues and scenes, so they would come up to myself and Nick, and they would tell us their story and ask us to dramatize it in a way that was either a monologue or a scene or poetic performance of some sort. And the next thing you know, we were kind of bombarded, almost overwhelmed with the truth that we were getting in the stories. And so Nick and I sat down and we put it together, and we said, well, let's put it together with something. And that's kind of where R.E.A.C.H came out of. It came out of a calling to stand up for what's right and to speak truth and allow people an opportunity, particularly young people, an opportunity to speak what's really going on with them. So in a way to realize that they're not alone and that there is a better way, which is kind of the tagline of the play, that there is a better way.
It was interesting because we brought the initial idea to them and said, bring your stories back to us in whatever form you can. We did not say, oh, give us the most serious or distressing situation you can think of, but we were blown away that while there was a mix of some lightheartedness, there were a lot of serious issues that they were clearly working with. And that was the point where we said, okay, this is something that we really need to tune and focus. Fortunately, my schedule allowed me the opportunity to sacrifice what otherwise would have been some of my planning period to go in on a frequent basis to work with those students. Some students had work that was completely formed with characters and dialogue. Others were just kind of a note by notes about their feelings and the situation that happened. And so Ben and I would work with them individually, or he and I would work together to bring these stories to life, to take their stories and turn them into a theatrical sense, develop a character, create a through line, and turn it into more of a production from just individual stories or vignettes.
All right, listen up! Because this is something you don't hear that often. You ready? I'm a nice guy! I'm a genuine, bona fide nice guy. Yes, that's what I said, and no, it's not some sort of oxymoron. Unlike many guys out there, I actually care about girls' feelings and I'm sensitive towards them. And you know what? I'm tired of these guys. These players who are ruining it for the nice guys like me. So, allow me to speak to these losers for a few moments. Look at you. You run your game, you think you're so slick. You grab that piece of ass and you move on, leaving the girl feeling forlorn and lost, like she's nothing but a piece of crap. Then these girls no longer trust guys. So when a nice guy like me comes around, looking to give this girl love and affection, she doesn't want any of it, because you've sucked it right out of her. You freaking leech! I'm so tired of you guys preying and feeding on these young girls. When my chance comes, a rarity, I might add, the answer is always no, because they think we're like the players who played them before. And you know what? That really sucks. When a girl you like her, even love, denies you because she's afraid you're gonna hurt her, when that's the last thing you'd want to do to a beautiful girl like her. And yes, I said it, beautiful, not hot or sexy, but beautiful and gorgeous. Girls are not some sort of sex object for you guys to toy around with. They deserve better than to be tenderized or slenderized by our words when the godforsaken media does it enough. I was taught growing up to love and respect women. That's what I do, not as some lame-ass front to get me in their pants. Your game's running out. People are catching up to your lies, your crap, your false hope. Meanwhile, here I am, the nice guy, the sensitive one, the one who has all the essentials, things girls say they want and need. Yet, why do I feel so unwanted?
We've performed at Central York. We did the first run of that show at the high school for families and friends, as well as faculty members there. We then were able to move on to New York City with it. We did a performance at the Players Theater, which is an off-Broadway theater space. We were able to get that produced, and we did a show there. We've performed at Penn State University for the National Federation of Families Conference, and we have performed in Washington, D.C. too as well for another conference, large conference. We've had people from the mental health SAMHSA organizations, the federal mental health organizations take a look at it. States have taken a look at state mental health organizations have looked at it. So and we've performed, of course, at YLT and York Little Theater and a lot of local spaces, the Strand. We've worked very closely with the YWCA, who kind of picked up what we were doing a few years after we performed at Central and helped us kind of start generate interest in the community. We still would love to bring this to schools, but also more importantly to the community, to families of adolescents and adolescents themselves that are looking for help and for support, and to realize that they're not alone, and to just kind of help address some of that tough transition from becoming an adult, this adolescence of being a child, but yet also trying to be an adult, and finding a way to do that through communication. R.E.A.C.H helps kind of break down the door with some of the things that are really going on and helps the conversation get started.
We took the opportunity to meet with them frequently, to sit in a big circle and to kind of process. As we read new scenes to the group, they would finish at different times. We would read them to the group and then process. Ben is very good about reminding the students that theater is not therapy, but it can be very therapeutic. And I think we had many therapeutic sessions where we got to talk about some of the issues that I don't think students had an opportunity to talk about anywhere else in their school, in a way that was very candid, was very open. I'm thinking specifically about one scene which involved a date rape, that every night watching the show was difficult. And no matter how many times we do it, every time I watch that scene, it's very real and intense, and in that moment. And we have actors standing by in the wings to give hugs and to encourage when you come out of a really serious moment like that, to kind of remind yourself, okay, you're back, you're with people who accept and love you and embrace those feelings, but finding just the courage to share those stories, even if they're not your personal stories, is just inspiring to watch for the students to perform.
Hey, my name's Jess. And I'm an addict. Not something you hear every day from a 17-year-old girl in high school, huh? I guess it all started in 9th grade, just smoking pot, drinking on the weekends, casual time wasting. But after a while, that got boring. Moved on to bigger and better things, like tripping every once in a while. Then I was introduced to pills. That's where I'd been the past 3 years of my life. I'm now a senior at this low-life high school and a drug addict at the same time. I've been taking pills every day now, more than once a day. How do I get them? It's not that difficult, really. Sometimes my friends get them from their friends or family members. Everyone's got prescriptions nowadays. It's not that hard to get pills. I don't discriminate. Whatever I can get my hands on. Zoloft, OxyContin, Ambien, Vicodin. Our cabinets are like
wooden drug dealers. Even during school, I'll pop a few oxys or perks. My bag has everything, some uppers, some downers, and some pills just to make me feel normal. Whatever that is. When I look around this classroom, I know that everyone knows that I do drugs. And some don't care, but others judge me for what I've become. I guess it's my fault. No, I know it's my fault. But I don't want it to be. I want to blame this habit on my old friends who got me into this shit. What the hell happened? Doing drugs used to be fun. I remember going to a friend's house to get high was the highlight of my day. Just laughing for hours, wasting time. Just the other day, I tried to stop for like the whole day. But I got really sick. My friends were all pissed off that I wasn't dropping and smoking up with them. Great friends. I've come to realize that our friendships are based solely on the fact that we love to get high together. So when one of us stops, the friendship literally suffers, because a fellow user is leaving, or trying to for that matter. I don't think it matters anymore. Because now, I think I need drugs to survive. You know, it's pretty damn scary to think that I need drugs to keep me stable, when drugs are the very definition of instability. I guess it's just a vicious cycle. And I'm going in circles.
Well, we had issues ranging from sexuality. We had issues self-harm. We had issues of bullying, misunderstanding amongst people, relationship issues, lack of communication, stress levels of work, feeling overwhelmed, a sense of loss and hopelessness, suicide, some suicidal thoughts, particularly with taking pills, prescription medication, things of that nature, and just dealing with a friend that they cared about or that they were losing and they didn't really know how to kind of spin it in that. So it's funny because none of the things that we heard or were hearing about were foreign to us, in that every generation has dealt with those things. I think this generation, because of technology and media and just we're bombarded and it's just 24/7. There's just it's more intense with, you could kind of get away a little bit more in our generations. And now this generation can turn on their phone and be looking at it right in their face too. And so there's a lot of different things. Nothing's really changed other than the access to that. And that can kind of add to the enhanced nature of some of the intensity of the stories.
We have tried very hard to keep the families of our students involved as well. Every time we cast the show, we will give out scripts and say, make sure that you share this with your families so that they know the kind of things that we're asking you to say on stage. And if there's anything that you're not comfortable saying, then let us know and we can work around that. And I remember a striking moment where one of the students who was cast to portray a scene in which a sexual assault is described, sharing that story with her family and having a mother who said, that really happened to a student at your school? I think that moment where we can sometimes turn a blind eye that these are problems that are only faced with urban school districts, that substance abuse and suicide are something that are not talked about because maybe if you say something, then you have to admit that there's a problem or that there's something wrong. We've had people comment, oh, why is the show so dark? And our response is that the situations are dark, but the show is ultimately hopeful, reaching out about staying connected, about the fact that one person can make a difference. And I think that's what we try to focus on. We've received some pushback about the language in the show. Our thoughts are always that we want to reflect how the students actually speak, that students can tell when you're not authentic with their language, and that we want to be as authentic as we can and update phrases, slogans, references to make it current and to stay current. But I think that's always the fear that maybe it's too edgy for central Pennsylvania, that it might work out in California or in New York, but not here. And the fact remains that the students who come to see the show, the parents who come to see the show, the students who are part of it say, yeah, this is happening. I know somebody who went through this. And I think that's what makes it worth doing again and again.
It only happens once a year. All your friends and family there. Bundle up, it might be cold. Spectacle for young and old. In the city you'll find me standing right next to that tree. I can't wait to see it glow as it glistens on the snow. And there's so much going on, from the market to the church and back again. Hello my friend, light it up and sing along. The York High Band is playing on. Down the street over at the Cat, Greater York came out to dance. They'll be hanging with the crew. Weary our school sings for you. It only happens once a year. All your friends and family there. Oh, York City is so pretty. Light up night. Light up night. Hey, Mr. Shipley, thank you kindly for the power. Oh, the tree hangs like a tower in the night, full of grace and full of light. I just want to see it glow all night. This first Friday, come behold a dazzling gems for young and old. Grab your kids and follow me. Santa's at the library. There is lots to do. Hello to you, York City. It only happens once a year. All your friends and family there. Oh, York City is so pretty. Light up night, light up night. It only happens once a year. All your friends and family here. Oh, your city is so pretty. Light up night. Light up night. Oh, York City. Light it up night.
Thank you so much for joining me for another amazing episode of Culture in Maine. I, as always, am Carla Christopher, and if you would like to know more about the show, check out past episodes, or find other exciting things that are going on, please find us on social media. Go to Facebook, facebook.com/Culture in Maine, and click like. Or you can follow us on Twitter @Culture in Maine, email us cultureinmaine@gmail.com, or you can always go to WRCT.TV, go to channel 18 and show profiles, and then click on Culture in Maine, and you'll find everything all in one spot. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week, and on your way out, enjoy the vocal studio of Summer Michelle Garner. Thank you, Downtown Inc. and Second Saturday on the Square, for bringing the wonderful memories to us. Have a blessed week.
I see it evolving, changing, growing. I like it.
It's fleeting. Once it happens, once a song comes out, once a poem comes out, it'll never come out the same.
Something like Culture in Maine is documenting what's going on in a way that will have that lasting staying power.
It just breeds healthy growth. It's a necessity. It's a necessity, yes.